Might be because you guys are a bit slower too.
Alright, is everyone ready?
Oh yeah, hold on.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait 1 second.
Alright.
Yes, I am ready.
Cool. Should is defined as the most reason to act. Part 1. When we have decisive reasons to act what we should do, most of the should be reason applying something we ought to. Depends on beliefs about these facts, certain beliefs about these facts. Belief difference. Two types of reasons exist: desire-based and value-based. Desire-based theories take more rules for age desires. Value-based theories think actions right or wrong. Because the facts about things are comprised of 8 reasons and belief for the only. Value-based theory truly frees to act. Part 2. Desires give reasons. Desires cause itself to be an agony through its own stage, waste your life trying to achieve worth the same done it. These desires give reasons are provided by features that we want, make the events good or worth achieving. Desire-based theory reason make it safer to pursue that it. You don't have desire for conflict, like disliking something. Is it good merely because one? Part 3. Most want to avoid future pain, not disallow this, like future pain, not select that be able to future pain. Ignore differences between states and a meta. He desires that many people false belief desires confer value when we're great pain. It makes your conscious state bad, just like on the present desire, not having sensation we dislike desire, not make objects good or bad. That the good mirror kids want this value. Not based theory justify rule consequence perspective. 1. Value experience justify age and neutrality. This is not desire not normative from one person uniquely to have multiple rational age and reach the same principle and rule consequence from function as an impartial mechanism decide which each agent has sufficient reason to choose to assert or exclusion justified by value-based reason absent a counter theory linked same error after the each second. No one will be able to present value-based reason to reject alpha and principle rocks. Principle of the universe accepts that everyone would will precisely those universes that have best consequence from an impartial point of view will rule consequence principle. The principle not make things go best and there will always be someone who decides reason not to choose the universe except the only principle said everyone has sufficient reason to choose a rule consequence. The standards rule consequence defines the principle as universal acceptance who would have the best consequence from impartial point of view and the negative may not be tested from standard rule consequence. Rule consequence from the very standard A. Any argument can link it so long as you justify why it's opposite rule. Other standards executes arguments based on fairness less available includes 2 and flow plus 1 side B. AFC self name times 2 and ability labor for observing the value of 6 minute constructed force based 1 layer right to else next spread out absent plus whatever every layer undercover control the interlinked education no critical thinking occurs when they just strength drop layers when stats and Jan Feb on this topic proof next that significant advantage being generic reason that is sometimes 2 numbers lots of times you drugs make it fair to only objective measure reacting around and any theoretical response to defense counter interpretation of best then who justify the neg may respond to the affair parts of the plan text. I advocate Algeria, Angola, Ecuador, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Libya, Nigeria, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Emirates, and Venezuela should force the dialect re-attacks all domestic oil extractor export reserves right to their plan with solve against model King 13. 3 to 5% tax levy on every barrel of oil is worth rich countries to 8 billion a year, but for 10 OPEC or redevelop is that final station unit taking UFCC proposal generate such amount of resources. Next, part 3 is the contention. Contention 1 is equal liberties rule. Consequential guarantee equal liberties A. Each individual wants there to be basic guarantees to pursue the conception of the good life, since there are multitude of life paths equally worthy to pursue. Each individual has a different life path they choose. B. No one would deny one's right to basic freedom without presupposing a pure egoistic theory of the goods of the state, such a thing with self-presupposed basic liberties not be extended to others. Such a pure complexion no one would be able to grant a freedom of posture reason to deny some of basic liberties. I would never rationally choose egoism. Ought to be versus as opposed to severe cost of myself. Basic liberties apply rights to environmental protection. Alpha out 2. Or 1. Citizens need to environment rights to develop more powers, pursuing conception of good. Anthropogenic contamination can impede the less of equal basic rights must include certain negative environmental rights and not have pollution interfere with one's harms. And property rights are not basic liberty. Alpha out 2. Contracting rights are not connect property rights to equal citizens can still pursue a reasonable conception of good that absolute right to own a mine. Denying property rights not undercut basic social protection. And neither is economic liberty. Alpha out 3. The instituting economic liberty is basic on providing ability for equal person to achieve economic independence and enjoy wealth, reasonable plans, flood, unregulated economic liberties rendering possible any person adequate development and more powers for opportunity. Contention 2 is the difference principle after created basic liberty. Receivers would agree to difference principles such that inequalities don't justify the benefit of the least will off trooper. Maximum the reason given that one would not know her position in society she would want to minimize her harmification with these. Well, carbon tax rectifies inequality from the means wealthy nation has support. These will off gains than 10 to 5% tax on oil, carbon dioxide, fish, global tax generate 40 billion a year should be paid by developed nations consuming the most OPEC has the power and responsibility to protect the environment through global tax and carbon emissions. OPEC would choose the most efficient and just way to make carbon emitters internalize the effects of actually pay for pollution they create and put away your poverty returns daily. Create tax goods directly to environmental protection. Helping countries these will off to $12. All day the free tax money would go to poor countries to add half the time change develop renewable energy and refer the plan alters economic success. Alpha out 6 or contracting parties might consider direct taxation GHG emission. Many economists prefer this because with more efficient costs of each society implement tax constraint purchase to utilize alternatives constraint the industry development employees alter society using free market along with consumer choice to raise efficiency contention through future generation parties in the original position would guarantee obligation to future generation. Alpha out 7 parties would select one would all previous generation to follow no generation goes place one generation all the generations to follow their free possible system might end up being a member of future generation reps would ensure to leave that applicant's directive generation in play and the plan solved by removing externalities of every source direction encourage alternate solutions. Alpha 7 by market based approach to ensure the price of goods services includes all price of cost of production reduction and tax rates provide disincentive for efficiency. Companies must take responsibility for all consequences of extraction. Peak oil is coming down for extraction unsustainable. On 13, the new study calls for the action to reduce vulnerability and authority global peak oil retire use on other major industrial economies at risk for you. The scientific literature argues production peak for oil production oil is likely to 2039 as time for global economy growing 4% next 5 years. Oil production must increase by 3% per year. This the increasingly likely part. 4 is reflective equilibrium. Accept a reflective equilibrium perspective on the frame of debate being we attempt to find the moral theory that best coheres general principles of particular moral judgments about specific case. Hyper method is principles I only consider general justification, consider defeat moral discussion. Scanlon. With debate, people say we can't come up with an argument, some opponent would have to accept on hand contradict whose state was right debate. But let's fact the question, they actually have good reason to accept that. So you have to make people decide the fact philosophy and deciding what to think rather than trying to convince others, even if principles have to consider judgments get error by self consideration change. No judgment influences his own principles support that reason for my argument are not sufficient. Reject my consideration. Reflecting equilibrium requires a negative to specific counter. Examples of reason theory, even if there's true according to some other general consideration. Counterexamples more ways to show general discord where judgments counterexamples several link from these arguments reflect the equilibrium state. Prove we should reject the general principle and to defeat the argument the neg must provide a counter methodology for qualifying moral sources. How to come to moral judgment from ethical arguments like naturalism, argument my affectation, they say where we get released from, not why those beliefs are justified. Further prefer methodology support by authors in the Litson position, none in the lit have low experience. Nobody academia takes it seriously last 10 billion years. Also, consequences coheres. However, rule consequences elects rules on basic exhibit value partial calculate. This will favor rules allow partiality when limits run. Core consequences party can partial foundation level code that select makes demand action to be called course. Police attack. Road stack legal break your proper so on. Finding A is for A is interpretation. If the absolutely necessary fish, all neighbors must also be necessary fish growth. B shall fantasy. Stands and cause too much structure to turn off. Unless the fish wins round, you can win the ace for you can choose. You can enter based on one error allocation for structures. You can one less hard to win quality off all the bird structure. We stop showing conditions. Ready? Yep.
Alright. Let's talk about the top of the AC.
Okay.
So, like, you have all these arguments wedged in between the contention that don't seem to be util offense. Are these to preempt scatter?
This is not util. Wait, to preempt scatter?
Yes.
Yes, obviously I can extend them to preempt scatter.
Alright, so let's go through each of these. So, the first one, what is the implication of Ross for you?
Ross?
Yeah.
It
Does that
says
interact
that
with Skep too?
it would interact with skep.
Why?
Because even if we consider principles that, like, we would have to consider other principles that other people would have to accept as well.
Okay, alright. Alright, so let's talk about the... Alright, so what exactly violates AAC?
A reinterpretation of the app standard. For example, like David Brandt said, like, under rule consequentialism, the best rule is contractarianism, and then he did weighing for why contractarianism was the best rule.
Okay, alright, that gets it. So like, I have to concede the app is contextualized in the AC then.
You have to concede that rule consequentialism, that we should look to the principles, if universally accepted, would have the best consequences, right? If you say there are no best consequences and everything is permissible, that is not that would violate AFC, because that still bites into all the strategies claims that I made. Because I get
Is there a voter in the AC?
I do not read the voter.
Would this implication be drop the debate or drop the argument?
It depends on how you would justify it. I would say like magnitude of abuse depends whether or not I read it as drop the debate or drop the argument, specifically in relation to the strategy.
Alright, do you defend dissets outside of the text of the plan or just
outside the text of the plan?
Yeah.
Like what? I'm obviously not going to defend a disadvantage that's not topical at all.
Okay, no, like disadvantages to other. Like, am I asking if you defend whole res or just the text of the plan just to make sure you can't get up to your violations?
I will defend the text of the plan.
Okay, alright, so let's talk about Parfit at the top. Does Parfit also take out skepticism?
I think it would interact with skepticism.
Why?
Because it would say we do what we have most reason to act for, and if there are no reasons, then obviously that wouldn't answer the resolutional question.
Okay, alright, let's talk about the equal liberties argument. That probably interacts with skepticism. Let's talk about the B point. Why would no one deny basic rights to freedom?
Because to make such a claim would be a contradiction, because you presuppose that you are able to state that claim in the first place. I say we rejected the theory that doesn't look to other people's consideration, because egoism would not be something we could universally accept. But also, there's an independent contradiction.
Alright, let's talk about the second contention. Reasoners would agree to difference principle. What does that mean?
Inequalities are justified if they benefit the least well off.
Alright, doesn't that contradict the argument right before about the B point in the first contention?
No. There is an argument for weighing lexical priorities. I say that equal liberties comes before the difference principle, but there's no violation of equal liberties that we should defer to the difference principle. So they are consistent.
Okay, so the difference principle comes first, though.
No, I just said equal liberties comes first.
Oh, sorry. Alright, so let's talk about the part 4. What is this argument? Scanlon. Can you just, like, summarize Scanlon for me?
You shouldn't be able to get away with arguments like skeptics, like, oh, there's no general moral theory that we should be able to appeal to. We should look to general moral judgments, such as, like, torturing innocent babies is wrong, and base our moral principles off of those judgments.
Why?
Why? Because that is a better methodology for how we should look to moral evaluation of the framework debate.
So what are the so neg must defend a counter methodology. What does that mean?
That's a substantive argument. It says that if you say reflective equilibrium is not the way we should evaluate framework debate, you should provide a different methodology that has supported evidence. Otherwise, you're just making like a bastardized philosophical comparison.
Okay.
You're on.
Are there any arguments about comparing worlds in the AC that I've missed?
What is comparing worlds?
Like a paradigm to evaluate the AI trees testing comparing worlds.
Well, I say you should evaluate things through reflective equilibrium, through the most recent
right.
facts.
So other than that, no, right?
I mean, I don't know what twisted interpretation you're probably going to read. Because it seems like I'm choosing pretty fair ways to evaluate the debate. Like, obviously, Parfit implies that we should compare.
Yeah.
It just stays around, but yeah.
Well, there's not a confusion for that also.
That's true. Noah and I are both staying around, as is any two.
We're just gonna start on the AC, then we're gonna go 2 off, and then if I have time back to the AC. Do you want me to flash you everything that I'm reading?
Yes, please.
So AC 2 off, back AC, we're on the AC.
So we're gonna start on the very first part at the top of the AC.
Parfit.
Yeah. So we're gonna start AC, just top down, then 2 off, and then if I have time back to the AC. Do you want the turns I'm reading on the AC too?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Are you using internet?
Get it for like 30 seconds every 10 minutes.
Is it okay if I just turn it off? Chris, can I just flash it to you on your flash drive? What? Can I just flash it to you on your flash drive?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. If Nathan can see the fact that his family's like, I don't think you defended, I didn't get it down.
This one's mine.
Yeah, like, that'd be. Afghanistan.
I think I memorized it.
I got United Arab Emirates.
Angola, Ecuador, Iraq, Iran,
Yeah, UAE.
Nigeria, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Venezuela.
Alright.
Those are all. Yeah.
Awesome.
I knew them all originally.
I mean, it's both NCP space where.
Yeah, isn't it? Alright. Yeah. Oh, we did that. Remember at Harvard? We didn't really talk about arguments. We were like, these No, we were like, these debaters are bad. I mean, they don't remember.
I think he said AC 2 off.
Just top down. So starting on part. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Parfit assumed reason reasons actually matter, and also group all the arguments in terms of why skepticism is not true. Normative fiction is constructed out of desire to make ourselves feel these joys. Thinkers aspire to do absolute truth for their claims subjective to actions much more truth than considered by human practice theories or plentiful progress on press of this enterprise derived from the ancient for years since by the time we take it first time steps each fist and burst and constantly right around trials as one grand advertising campaign designed to get us to internalize these concepts in order to discount presuppose that any of the beliefs are actually true. We do really need to concoct theories designed to earn this mission truth form beliefs even supposing this mission to establish more truth possible product of particularly contingent culture standing interact with the particularly contingent evolutionary trajectories expression of human very real possibility that none of more true judgment is true. All this also turns the raw text because raw says that we have to actually account for all these perspectives. But this argument says that it's literally not accept also functions as my counter method in terms of Scanlon, because Scanlon says that we have to look to some sort or other interpretation, but the choice effort concludes that there's no true obligation. We are free to act as we please. We should not care, which means that nihilist is always true. Also, in terms of Scanlon also seems that reasons actually matter in the first place. Scanlon says that we have to look to reasons and how we evaluate reasons, but that doesn't justify why reasons actually matter to begin with. Second, it's circular. Scanlon just assumes that morality actually matters, and we care about morality to begin with. Is also true in terms of all these spikes against skepticism, because there's no word as to why morality actually matters. It just says that if we want to achieve morality, it's true, but my argument is that we should not commit towards the value of morality whatsoever. Then, first thought. The only possibility for Okay, skepticism is true. One is naturalistic fallacy to assert that anything identical with morality. What obligates goodness is not a property of objects of morality. Goodness does not exist. Pigeon. If good men X and X good, X things are good to be tautology equivalent. X things are X good things are good. Tautology would not provide a reason for most X things are good. Does not provide a reason for action. Good does not mean X is good. Cannot be attached to an object. And goodness and object does not exist. It means moral terms are false. And the topic is also false. Pigeon too. After judgment is false, since there no probably corresponds to good, nothing can ever possess it. No action can be generally right or wrong, since there are no such properties as goodness for each maximize this answers the claim in any man ethic or ethic in terms of the AC as well, since they all look at goodness specific property of the world that might make that act good, so it's impossible to prove anything good and communicate true. If I demonstrate that applying rules and communicate the resolution possessive of the action that ought to be taken requires composing a set of rules about the world. It's with a set of rules about the way the world ought to be. The rules are not of contents. No rule self-right channels. To the terms of the rule not defined as the rule. Rules are not of contents. Since their meanings are contestable any further to rule to specify and implement the rules. No rule is infinitely misinterpretable. For instance, for 3 plus 3, there's no reason why past addition functions to get 6 is the correct use of rules, since nothing other than choosing when to use the rules of addition. In that case, I could be operating on the rule that sets the plus sign for numbers less than 10 yields the answer to the algorithm contains terms that are susceptible to different incompatible interpretations. Thus, infinitely aggressive. The same act also applies to in-round theoretical rules, which would be infinitely immutable, since the lack of stable constant rules means that their interpretation of the content is infinitely very interpretable. So there's no rule I'm not consistent with this. Also, I bag the internal war within the arguments is why I have to provide some sort of counter methodology, because my argument directly refutes that claim. There's no reason why we have to have these sort of rules to begin with. 3, in terms of philosophy, the terms of philosophy cannot provide meaning or obligation to Agent Stevenson. Words all work by referring outside themselves to what we can know except through words, but the meaning of a word depends on how it relates to other words. Words to derogatory meanings have meanings to other words in the language. The meaning of a term is empty and different from the world itself. This means terms like odd and truth are empty meanings since they rely upon concepts outside of themselves. What we can't know except for worlds, which is infinitely regressive as opposed to other worlds. It's also true in terms of every single word in terms of the AC, because there's no reason why these words or the jurisdiction arguments that you set up in terms of how we evaluate different things actually matter. And skepticism negates one to the gates and that truth, which means any argument that renders the resolution false sufficient to the assumption the resolution makes false resolution also. If my parents don't exist, it's possible to say that they want me to do my homework, because that statement presupposes my parents exist in the first place, and all theory standards involves the technicalities of the resolution dictates and necessary other standards. For example, the resolution dictates how much ground reciprocity necessary. Thus, so long as my affect-sexual is fair, 2, you can't prioritize my protection over research. Skeptics, everything is safe. It's impossible to prioritize anything over anything else. And B, my protection is impossible because skeptics never reason for attacking anything, and even skepticism is suspicion for negative value means there's no reason for a presumed negative. 1, the affect strategic advantage in terms of A, laying out the terms in the debate in the first page, B, getting almost half the each time rewritten, and D, then C, getting the last one in every debate, so the negative presumption to offset those advantages. 2, to affirm means to uphold the affect practical and upholding the truth of resolution. 3, since for all means affirming the term to do something we will not be able to affirm the resolution unless there's practical reason to take that action, so we will always presume that. 4, this topic is more like the false and true scenario. Any number of conditions need validation to be true. One part is the false and the whole thing's false, so you aren't sure who proved the burden. I probably did, and for standard reason presumes that theoretical instance I win that we ought to see the resolution false debate, not a tie that very might show that you should negate, and even if they win theory against Scott, that doesn't prove I'm not allowed to read Scott with the implication that negates on face. So if I win, drop the argument, just evaluate my arguments internally against the AC framework, since it's absolutely ridiculous for them to claim that I can't read defense against the framework. There's a reason why presumption is unfair. We both have access to also answer back the argument about having more reason to do anything because my argument said there's absolutely no reason, and the absolutely not reason theory or meta theory. The one error, this also includes paragraph theory extension, and the one error theory gives them 7-6 advantage on time. It is significantly easier for them to win, and with the 2 error collapse is devastating because they can make new weighing and interaction collapse to whichever one they're winning, so I will always lose. Even there's some abuse in my world, there's infinite abuse in theirs. I get it. Preempt the 2 error collapse. Second off. AZ interpretation of the resolution is no make a habitual statement about developed countries, not particular ones. Matthews. Generic statements refer to entire class statements for rather than specific members in turn. The graph thinks generic reference statements about the species, data, graph thinks slugs, such as sentences in turn. Generic statements to expect a generic proposition B's violation quantification has no bearing on the truth of the statement. The app violates by defending only specific countries to implement plans. Here, the standards grammar, linguistic proof, individual country plans are not topical comparison. These generalizations, generals of individuals have also have the property of tolerating exceptions to Belina. Eat oatmeal for breakfast, and should not need to eat oatmeal every breakfast. They're commonly found in sample birds, flies, and tolerant exceptional penguins. Most researchers agree that generics and habitual require a component meaning or different and vary from the meaning altogether to get an account of exceptionality. Commonly assumes semantic analysis of habituals and generic thoughts and operator, which is didactic relation between the interpretation to constitute a partition from the sense that it's operating on a restrictor and a matrix in keeping with the most commonly accepted semantic analysis quantification. As this didactic operator's focus sensitive generic sentences can be ambiguous according to which constituent meanings assign to the restrictor and make it two implications. One, in resolution developed countries, the plural restrictor quantification is irrelevant to plans are not topically saying X% of group has Y characteristics doesn't prove the group has Y characteristics. Second, Stanley plans are not sufficient grounds to refer to the AC doesn't prove the rest is true, and grammar is needed. Clarity because grammar literally determines how the topic divides and allocates grammar. Without grammar, you can literally not make arguments in terms of second, in terms of setting, nor for debate. There's literally no way how you know how to even debate if you don't know what ground is yours. And off util, turn it. First, resource extraction is distinct from the way humans regard natural objects to resource objects that humans view as usable as a means to an end. The notion of protecting something like the environment sense for moral recognition that there is some intrinsic entity worth protecting the environment with recognition and intrinsic worth the notion of environmental protection class because one, you can't protect the environment if it doesn't have intrinsic worth since there's no moral harm that can be done to it in the first place since it's just an object, not an agent that can accrue moral harm that can be unless the environment has value in its current form and any interaction with the environment would just convert it into the alternate form not destroying. For example, mine rocks just become smaller, just for smaller rocks which are morally worse than themselves. Their value in the natural world is this means that util negates because util makes this claim that everything is means to end because the only way only end we're pursuing is human well-being, thus the environment is just a resource of the end goal of human happiness. The very notion of protection is flawed. Second, in order to prioritize the principle has to be the case that when you are acting in accordance with the principle at every step. This is true because every statement step in the action can be broken down into infinite steps without unifying all these steps under one judgment. It's impossible to say that any judgments prioritized as a reason for action are constantly changed. The util fails to provide this unity judgment, thus can't prioritize policies. Rodel. Calculation from desire do not yield the premise or range of reasoning because this conclusion requires a challengeable state. The ground of intention judgment takes in favor of doing A as desires coming good. The judgment contains a reference to time such as object named T bears no logical connection with the judgment expressed by the same words as C2.
Wait, hold on. You read all of that?
Yeah.
Except this last word.
Also, I accidentally put an extra
You
card.
didn't read Octofinals, did you?
Yeah, no. So.
Alright. Ready?
Yeah.
Alright. If all theory in terms are infinitely mutable, then I meet T too, right?
Sure.
Okay. At that point, then we would just look to substance. Alright, that's fine. Let's talk about you violate AFC, right? Because you contest the standard. You say your arguments are defensive responses if we reject the argument.
Wait. Sorry. Let's
You
go back
contest
to the
the
last
affirmative
question. Are you talking about the textuality claim?
You say all in theory interpretation. Actually, it's fine. This is my cross-ex. You say, I say you can't contest robust functionalism. You say your arguments are terminal defense against the framework. You contest the standard, correct?
Right.
Alright, so you violate that standard. Do you do any weighing between your shell and my shell?
Yeah, talk about why grammar comes before anything else.
Why grammar comes before anything else?
There's
Why
two
do we look to
reasons.
your interpretation of grammar?
Why do we look to my interpretation of grammar?
Why is the resolution uniquely a general statement?
So that's the two cards in the shell, starting with the interp and also the
Wait, they assume already that the resolution is a generalization, though. So if I say
no,
developing
the argument,
countries,
no. The argument is Matthews talks about how a generic or visual statement is.
where do these arguments even say grammar?
What do you mean?
Where do these arguments say
grammar.
this is a grammatic statement? They say Matthews' argument says generic statement referred to an entire class of individuals. Where do you say why this resolution is a generic statement?
So, like, it doesn't have quantification, right? Matthews distinguishes between, like, a generic statement.
No,
like
that's not my
graphics and
question.
slugs.
My question is, why is the resolution a generic statement?
Right, so that's the comparison that I'm giving you right now, right?
Okay.
Grass thinks these slugs is a generic statement. Similarly, developing countries ought to prioritize something is a generic statement because there's no specificity in terms of quantification or bearing in the term developing countries.
That's fine. Let's talk about the skep arguments. So you say your counter methodology is we shouldn't look to any reasons.
No, the Joyce evidence is like it's not like.
What is your
generic.
counter methodology?
It's nihilism, right?
It's nihilism. What is nihilism?
So nihilism says, like, skep says that we cannot access truth. Nihilism says that we just don't care.
Wait, how is this a methodological claim about how we should view competing value theories?
Right.
Your
so
argument
the argument is thus
nothing
because
has a
nihilism is true, there would be no reason to do what you're advocating for because we don't care.
That's not my question. My question is how do we evaluate or weigh between the claims of the AC and the claims of the NC, or like the claims of skep?
Right. So terminal defense also shows
No,
why
no.
your truth
Your
is
argument, you say
inaccessible.
your arguments are terminal defense of my arguments. My argument is that how do we resolve the debate between those two? You just say nothing has value. My question is how do we weigh those claims against the methodological claims of the AC? If you just say my argument is we should evaluate.
Chris, I don't see the distinction between this weighing and any other weighing, right?
No.
I put defense and arguments as to why your methodology is flawed. You
say
make
reflective
arguments as to why it's
equilibrium
not.
is false because there's no value in the first place. Reflective equilibrium does not take a stance on what things are valued in the first place.
No, I've also put arguments as to why reflective equilibrium
You say it
is
assumes
reason
morality.
matters to begin with.
You say it assumes morality. If we do not look to morality, then what do we look to?
That's only the second argument.
That's only the second argument.
Yeah. The first argument I made.
No, so the second argument is responsive by you don't provide the counter theory of what we should value.
Wait, I lost track of your question.
Actually, that's fine. All right. If skep is true, can we torture babies for fun?
Can we torture babies?
Correct.
For fun? I don't take a stance on that issue.
Well, is it permissible?
Is it
Nathan,
permissible?
is that okay under if skep is true?
Yeah, probably.
All right. Is killing like 500 innocent people okay?
I mean, Utah would justify that too because you can kill 500 people to save 1,000. I don't see why that's unique. To
No, I'm saying with skepticism justify that. I read rule consequences. No, like.
All right, that's true. I mean, I think that's true for other standards too. I mean, I don't take a stance in terms of what specifically skep justifies, except for what's articulated
Okay.
in one end.
What are all the theory spikes or arguments that respond to theory?
Do you want me to highlight that for you?
You say negate. Wait, which arguments? Infinitely mutable, may not read theory in the 1AR, 762AR collapse. What other arguments respond to theory arguments that I read? That I might read.
Text, interact or take out.
Interact.
Probably
Text is litmus test.
Can I charge? Yeah.
Okay. Why is fairness a voter?
I don't justify fairness voter in class speech.
You don't justify fairness?
No.
Are there any fairness is not a voter arguments?
No.
All right. Wait, so why is your shell a voter? Is it just jurisdictional arguments?
No, it links to fairness. The links were extended, they're not the ones I were writing about.
Alright, 125 left. I need to flash some stuff. Can you give me a second? Yeah. Because it's in like 4 different docs.
Alright, can you just put it all with one?
Yes, I'll do that.
Where'd Tom go? I think he'll come back. Yeah.
I also have to.
Do you live in Hyde Park, Tom?
Sorry?
Do you live in Hyde Park? Where?
51st and Georgia. Where do you
54th in South Elms.
Are you reading you off?
I've never been actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was going.
I did go into the one.
Okay.
Very good.
Good.
He's massively outpacing animals and problem development according to your parents. This is just a recurrent devastating problem for months, which is that she got on right cop and the other.
That's really sad, but very cute at the same time.
What? You ever want to hear anything?
It's kind of funny because I'll put Ben on and read the book for him. So he's gotten just like turning the page, like playing. So I put like a photo and it kind of looks like
He's reading.
So I pick it up and be like,
So sorry, did you say the order, Chris?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, sorry. Then I guess I didn't miss anything.
You got it.
they just hit himself.
Yeah. Okay, so order is going to be extension of AFC. Then we'll go to his theory shell, and then after that, reflective equilibrium at the AC, extension of AC offense, and like the reflective equilibrium, the skep arguments, and like the hidden theory spikes. I'll try and signpost, and then AC. Okay.
So, AC.
Yeah.
AC, my shell, reflective equilibrium, NC.
Alright, yeah, that's fine. Just tell us where you're going after the chef.
Alright. Is everybody ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. He concedes the violation of the AFC that he contested from a standard consequence. Extend the AFC self-made times ability to layer by presuming value 6 and construct force the debate to whether I can win. Snake concedes that times 2 is the strongest internal link theory. The only objective measure we have coming into the round is the fight with the first bid I with the round that's very photo because the basic direction to give you some loss. No, you don't use the better big cheese so effect. Your ability to resolve the round means outweighs versus jurisdiction. Firstly, because it is position for role to judge. Make sure you are back with the argument spared. The second, because your jurisdiction best and the reason to reject the argument because the reason why the plan is logically from an I from the resolvability of the round is skewed, which means you negate also use your reasonable correct judgment. Because I don't you think she's false. You prefer arguments on straight to link these. It definitely skewed the round in this specific case. He can see the entirety of the story. He's going to make cross up over as an over. He's going to make cross application. He needs to do these in the last speech. I can't predict every cross application he's going to make it. He should have made it clear to you, especially because this spike was very clearly in the app, very clearly interacts with the arguments. Then extend, then go to his shell. First, counter-interpretation. I can defend the resolution as a specific statement through the plan text. The benefits firstly, logically magnitude of the impact load from one instance in the justified part distance and environmental protection. Distraction fixation occurs in the act, or it has to be prevented. Second, turn the only way to determine truth within specific context shader. Contextually, the physical subject knows the PA is in a position to eliminate alternatives which depend on the situation. Usually, these possibilities versus disguising uses relevant and is directed and not disguise common animals. Exotic becomes relevant. This outweighs case compared to plans logic. It's the only way to establish logical truth. It proves even if it's truly absolute. We have to do a subset of information. General statement. Third, term parameters only logical information will valid. Doesn't support verify. And the form of their environmental protection takes up before assessor, found necessary. Generalizing is thus difficult, which outweighs your interpretation because it's logically impossible. So plans are the only way you're on your interpretation. This assumes the general statement is perfect, not specific to varying on the resolution. Usually general statements are this, but not the resolution. General statement proves links the generic ground arguments. Also, you don't even gauge the plan. There's no abuse where there's actual abuse on the AMC. Actually, go to the extension of the F. You can see the equal liberties argument. You can see the visa point that no one will presuppose the egoistic theory of the good takes that skepticism specifically. There was no explicit cross-application made because we have to look to a theory that would provide us the most reason because no one can deny one's right to basic liberties without engaging in contradiction. The skeptic contradicts himself because in order to make that claim, he presupposes the ability to make that statement in the first very clear implication. You said outcome 3, 1 and 2 that environmental protection, basic liberty, and resource structure is not. Then reflect equilibrium. He does not provide a counter methodology for how you should compare between theories. We need to look to reflect the equilibrium. Even if his general arguments against rule consequences are generally false, he doesn't provide a counter theory how to value. Look, it's very simple. He said if I want to reflect the equilibrium, he's provided specific counter examples to my argument to be that argument because that would show general discord with his moral judgment. The way we look to it is just whether it agrees with his moral judgments about specific cases. He can see that his is heavily counterintuitive. That I would allow for the killing of innocent people for no reason or self-torture. A baby for no reason means that his coherence is inconsistent with general moral judgments. Easy. Always refer my specific arguments because rule consequential less because of the hooker evidence that shows that it allows partiality within limits means a comparative reason to prefer. He says value theory takes it out because there's no reason why there is a set action. My argument is a comparative reason for why you should prefer these arguments. That he says that he also provides reasons for why he also says reasons why this is a counter theory of value and that we should look to no reason, but he can see the proper definition should that we have to look to what we have most reason to do. So his arguments just deny that we have the most reason, but my argument that textually we have to look to what we have the most reasons to do. He also says this also is argument not counter theory. He just says no value. That does not provide a methodology to provide a way for arguments. Go to Skep. He'll say every rule is infinitely mutable. Firstly, your more plausible interpretation of theory stands. For example, we would say that poles would be more likely to refer to like how we would ask a person something rather than an elephant means that you can have more plausible interpretation. Second, says not the theory argument. My theory argument comes prior to the substantive arguments. And first, you can make that cross application. He says text theory frames all interpretations, but firstly, fairness is a constraint of the availability of arguments. You can still be 15 if that would be unfair. Secondly, that's just one interpretation of text. My interpretation of text, you should be able to you can still negate under my interpretation. I just constrain the way you do that. You say may not read theory in the one ear. That's fine. I don't read theory in the one ear. Also, my theory is directly taking out skeptics to affect the valuability of my arguments.
Alright, 2, 3. What was your justification to why fairness is voter?
Why fairness is voter?
Yeah.
My argument is that otherwise the role is consistent with the role of the judge. Otherwise, you do not know who's doing better debating, better cheating. So you would have to vote on theory.
Alright. We're going to start on parfait on the AC. Then we're gonna go. Okay, so park it on the AC. Then we're gonna hop to the Scanlon card here, the RE thing. Then we're gonna go to Joyce on the AC. After that, we're gonna do 2 overview arguments. They'll be pretty long, so if you need to flow that on a new tab, or can you flash them? Oh, right. I'll flash those to you.
If it's like 8 reasons to reject the argument.
So it's like up down. The lingo these days. It's when you're switching points on the flow, just say like
Yeah.
reflective equilibrium, not like Ari Parker. The Ari. I don't think Ari's come up with an argument. I don't think he's come up with any in a couple of years. I mean, because we had a runoff round this morning. Started at 9. Yeah, I guess usually Octa starts at like 10. So, are the for the 2? I need 2 new tabs. You said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, probably 3.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.
Sounds good.
Isn't this like for a template?
What? I just asked how many like new sheets of paper / tabs I need to create.
We're gonna be jumping a lot, but basically we're starting on the AC, so. Alright, so starting on Parfit. Okay. You have conceded that Parfit doesn't have any reason as to why, it doesn't have a warrant as to why reason even matters in the first place, which is necessary for you to win your arguments as to why RE actually matters in the first place. Or you have conceded that RE also assumes that reason actually matters in the first place, which is the necessary reason as to why we have to compare these reasons to begin with. You haven't actually provided the warrant as to why that's true, so you have extended 3 and go. Second argument was also that we cannot even access it to begin with because skepticism is I'm not defending skepticism, I'm defending nihilism, which means that we just do not care about this to begin with, and there's internal warrant within Scanlon. Your arguments are extended, and they do not make sense because you say we still have to compare between rules in terms of which is better. My argument is that we do not care about these rules, so there's no reason as to why we compare to begin with. You are not paying nearly enough lip service to the Joyce evidence either. You have conceded Joyce, extend Joyce. Joyce gets 2 warrants as to why nihilism is true. The first warrant is that everything is based in terms of our perspective in life, everything we've experienced in the past, but also where we exist in terms of our contingent trajectory, which takes out your arguments in terms of Ross. This was the implication turn I made in Ross in terms of why this truth is not accessible to other people, which also takes out your extension of the number 2 point, which I cross-applied to Joyce evidence 2, because your argument is that no one would deny these arguments, but this truth is inaccessible to begin with. You've also extended the argument that, we should, mine's more intuitive, but that argument does not make sense because my argument is, look, no one else can access these truths. There's no reason as to why this truth. You've also conceded the second warrant in Joyce, which is that the fact that we've had all these discussions and passed no coherent conclusion means that skepticism is true and nihilism is true. Not skepticism is true, nihilism is true, which means we do not care. You cannot answer these claims in terms of the specific evidence I'm reading by just making vacuous statements in terms of why we still care about reasons or why we still care about comparisons. My argument is that we do not care about these comparisons to begin with. Then, let's go to the first argument. Fairness is not avoided. 1, fairness is a competitive standard that attempts to equalize the amount of passive ballots. So anything the applicants and that can do is theoretically legitimate to 100% reciprocal. Rest process is also because we both have the same amount of waste when ensuring fairness. 2, flipping a coin in every debate round is definitionally fair, but that would ruin the activity because there would be no incentive for anyone to debate because each one would be left to luck 3 debates toward inequity, like who are better speakers, who makes more strategic determine who has better arguments in debates. Competitive fairness can't always be observed since you can never predict who wrote their own case, who has proper coaching. You see the structure fair on fairness, no reason to reject an argument or debate. He also only arguments he makes in terms of fairness that your obligation is judged, but Joyce directly takes it down because your obligation as judge is not accessible to you because it's not a necessary truth that you have. 4, competitive activities don't require it to be fair because in order to determine the better you need to be fair. The better person who wins around on the phone is better at playing the game because that shows true knowledge of debate. Fair just shows you don't understand the strategy involved in debate, which is key component of debate because we determine which arguments to engage. 5, all resolutions give side by side debaters. There's no reason to penalize debate for taking advantage of arguments side by side in order to win. It would be like giving someone $1 million expecting them not to take it. 6, fairness speculative difference from person to person meaning evaluate. There with the fairness score will lead to more judgment defense judge. 7, just because my friends might be just because my opponent might be more fair doesn't mean that you don't grant my advocacy or grant vote me down. will be more fair in the debate round if I give my opponent's arguments straight right my own case. I will defeat the purpose of the debate. Turn. I'm being punished for the rules in which my only opponent knows in advance. I have no rule to abide by. The first which makes the unfair. Thus, all debaters contend to violate the rule of be like passing go and not collecting to law because the rules change in the middle of the game. Second overview. Substance proceeds theory. 1. The substance resolution. What we came here to debate and what we're currently supposed to debate. So you should value substance first. Theory doesn't contain substance not how we determine the better than debate. Second, your job is to judge the vote for or endorse certain position because you have to vote for something to vote for better. But theory asks you to vote against certain bad arguments, not for certain good ones. So voting out you should it's contradictory to the rules of argument. 3. Theory tests a very small skill set that will lead you to debaters or experts as winning theory based on best indication being the better value substance first because debating substance requires a broader skill set. So you have the better knowledge of more issues like framework the topic. Thus, the better test is better debater. And the third overview is going to be, you have conceded the analytic in the NC as to why, the only reasons as to why you had to drop arguments is just reasons as to why you would evaluate my first off is terminal defense on the AC. Your AC extension doesn't make sense because I'm not contesting the evaluation of the contesting the way the framework is contextualized in the AC. Rather, I'm saying it's terminal defense, which means you would always drop the argument on theory anyway. And so as long as I'm going to drop the argument, it's fair. It doesn't matter. So first, I didn't know coming in around the arguments that we're running we're going to be unfair given that theory's explicit rule is terminally unfair. Please drop it to me. I have no reason for this indication that you should allow me to drop down until I have a chance to win. Second, only arguments back from judges decision regulations or one that being sent through one speech and then I brought go for the argument technically it's not the one you told me count for 3. It's not reciprocal punch judges in the real world. We want to give the death penalty problem again. You shouldn't drop me by unfair arguments of basing debate practice in the real team because debate is only an instrument development that helps draw people into the world. Then go to the argument. So even if fairness is true, you have conceded the argument at the bottom of the NC in terms of why you can't run new 1AR theory or extensions of theory in the AC. You have conceded that this is the strongest link to fairness to times 2, which you say is the strongest fairness. In fact, because Myron said you have a structural advantage in terms of the way that time is divided, which is terminal defense on not only your shell but a reason why fairness is important. You should always evaluate my shell first. So the implications that you drop debate for Chris, so you can send the interpretation, which is that he can't run new theory you can't run new theory in the 1AR or extend theory from the AC. He is violation. He did. He extended AFC. The standard is times 2, which I've just extended, and you can cross-apply his voter if it is true. So, at that point, now all I have to do is win SCEP arguments, which I've already won by extending Joyce. So, you can extend the first warrant, which is extend that skepticism true, extend pigeon in order to say anything you need to say property act, saying those things good, which means property act would be equivalent to good, would create a tautology because we substitute, would be saying good things are good for providing no sustainable reason, nor reason for action, there would be no justification, only be justified by self-absurd. You've also are not answering the argument which said this, the rules fail to guide, fail for 2 reasons. A, rules can be self-referential, although to be circular, they require other rules to justify themselves, so they're saying that you're appealing to theory norms or something like that does not make sense because these rules are infinitely regressive. We also extend that rules are infinitely misinterpretable. For instance, for 3 plus 3, there's no reason why passage addition functions get 6 to the rules, which means I automatically meet your theory shell because there's no way you can actually understand how to evaluate theoretical rules. Your arguments are not sufficient here. You just say that you have to compare those, or like it operates on a higher level, but those are not responsive. So the way the round breaks down is very simple. It's game over for Chris. There's too much for him to deal with. Do not let him get away with big picture arguments because he has to address every single argument on the line. You cannot make arguments about you can't cross-apply spikes because if your argument is that the implication was clear in the AC, the implication is also clear in the 2NR. I also don't have a 3NR to respond to. It's 2AR triggers, so there's no way to get around this. It's very simple. Substance comes before theory. I'm clearly handling substance because I put terminal defense are also reasons as why skepticism negates. Also, I'm the only person with presumption arguments, so worst case scenario, if skepticism is true, you presume negative.
Alright. I have one. I like 130 left or something like that, right? Alright, go.
What do you think? Kind of wanted to watch that round. I don't think that has ever happened. I don't know what would happen. To be honest, if that happened, I wouldn't vote down the debater. If that happened, I wouldn't vote down the debater. I'd let the kid punch him back. It's reciprocity. He could do it. Alright, before I decide, you gotta hit him back. I mean, I'm
There was violence,
trust me, Sunday'd still care. At least Rom would. In the face, he'd keep debating. Mid-spread, he'd keep going.
Okay, so the order's going to be an overview. You should flow it by the AC contention. Then after that, we'll start at reflective equilibrium, how that interacts with his skeptical arguments, like the overview that I gave on those arguments. Then after that, we'll go to like the skep arguments proper. All right, is everybody ready to go? Okay. Nathan only goes into skeptical arguments. Means I want to reason why you should believe that affirming is more is better than negating. That is sufficient for you to affirm. So you said Alpha 1 and 2 that equal liberties mandate environmental protection, not resource extraction. There are 4 ways that I can defeat skepticism. The first is on that argument. You can see the B sub 1 of the equal liberties argument that this directly defeats skepticism because you perform a logical contradiction when you do not when you deny someone's right to a basic liberty because you presuppose that you're able to make that truth claim in the first place. I said that this precedes his arguments in the first place because it begs the question whether or not he's able to make his logical justification or truth claim in the first statement. Do not do cross-application for when you weighing analysis in the speech. You do not even address this argument in the last speech independently of the rule consequence of this false. You still will receive the basic liberties or something that have to be accepted as true. This is a logical justification for my offense, which means that you should affirm. The second place I can do is reflective equilibrium. He does not have a good counter methodology. Look, he just says that reasons do not exist. My argument is a claim about how you should evaluate which reasons are normally important, or about how you should evaluate between different judgments about what we ought to do. Even if he's right that morality is false, this is still a normative claim about what we ought to do, and Scanlon is the only comparison of how we should evaluate those judgments, which is a general, more judgment, specific moral cases. Look, if you think that punching innocent babies in the face is a good thing to do, then that is not coherent with your general moral judgment. It means you should reject skepticism. That means that you should have greater reason to affirm because rule consequential coherence with convictions, like the Hooker analysis. I have the only offense back to rule consequential to you for my arguments. He just says that his argument is deflationary, that they deny the logic of the case in the first place. My argument is not premised on whether or not I have logic. They premise on whether or not you are able to access this claims in the first place. Scanlon evidence is good on this question. It says that debate is not just about creating logical link chains that you can not have contradictions to, which even if you do, I have offense to anyway. It is about general moral judgments about what beliefs you ought to actually accept, which means that the implications of his ethical theory are unacceptable. It means that you would reject them even if he does not win. Those arguments are true. Then you can go to the NC. He can see the argument that even if it is hard to have describe something to a non-natural property or reasons for why that is true, we still have a greater belief in some one idea than something else. For example, we can believe that the whole example is asking someone a question rather than an elephant means that there are more plausible truth claims than others. Means that not everything is equal. He needs to win 100% defense on the case in order to access skepticism because that would show that we have no reason to do anything. But I am the only one giving you countervailing reason to prevail anything. Like I've said, such skepticism. He says nihilism. My arguments are still responsive. He says we cannot value anything. My argument is that I am the only one who gives you credence in valuing something. We can believe some credence is more than others, even if it's harder to prove it comparatively. Also, my reflective equilibrium arguments control the interlinking of these arguments. Even if he says that if rules fail to guide action or objective things happen, my argument is that you should look to judgments that cohere with the general moral convictions. He sees the entirety of the AC contention. That is a reason why I should cohere with the general moral convictions. Nihilism is just defense. In this case, this is harder to access reasons, but not that those reasons not exist. Here is the how the round breaks down. It's very clear. Fine, skep takes out. Fine, fairness is not a voter, but you can evaluate substance very, very clearly. He screws up when he gets these reflective equilibrium. The argument I make about form contradiction, which precede all his arguments, wasn't cross-applied. Do not do the work for him. I'm doing it for you in the 2AR. Correct.